Alright, and we're live. At least for now. While the internet lets me. We'll see. We'll see about that. We'll see how this goes. Anyway, I'm also gonna launch the TikTok one. Hi, Paulina. Hello. How are you doing? Hello, Dog Mom Live. How are you? And hi, Alice. I'm good. How are you guys? How is everything with you? Here, everything has been, pretty stable. Let's put it this way. The usual. Okay, I'm also launching the TikTok, which has changed the interface, and I do not know how I feel about it. But hi, Carolyn. Hello. Okay. It's gonna notify Zoe, I see you. Hi. It's gonna notify people. We will wait as always, and then we will get into the topics of the day. Again, if my internet lets me, because it's been a little wonky today. So, hi dear. Hello. How are we today? How are we doing? How is everybody? Quite windy. But hot. Okay. Not the heat. Maybe it's a good thing. I've seen already so many people being so sad that, summer is over and it's the fall and da-da-da-da. So maybe this would help us put a positive spin on the heat. I don't like the heat, so... But we're trying to be optimistic these days. Okay, let's see. Today's gonna be probably pretty slow by the looks of it. I haven't posted in a while, no trendy topics, no Trump, Putin, Zelensky. Okay, there's gonna be some Trump, but not too much. I think recently it's been mostly J.D. Vance and Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. So I don't even know which one is worse, but... Hi Richard, hi Alice. Weather here in Ohio is great today. I'm still recovering from a back procedure. Oh my god, get well soon, okay? Get all the rest that you can, okay? And bounce back stronger than ever. And good little rain in Utah. Wonderful, wonderful. We also hate the heat. Well, I think this is pretty common among the... Oops, sorry. So press something. People with good taste, such as ourselves. Oh, thank you, Don, for sharing the live. Well, yeah, it makes sense for Scandinavians to not like the heat, right? You guys are wired for something else. Hi, Henrik. Thank you so much. Thank you for the rose. The stores tell us it's fall with pumpkin decor. The 80s, 90s, the 80, 90 degrees weather says otherwise. Right, totally. Yeah, I remember hearing about this for the first time, about all of the decorations. Thank you, Bram. Good to see you changing. But it was about the the Halloween decorations in the stores being replaced with the Christmas ones. How it inspired Tim Burton for the Nightmare Before Christmas. And this is how I learned that you guys have a bunch of decorations for these holidays, because we never had that. So yeah, I was really, especially with the Halloween, it was never really a thing. These days it's sort of gradually becoming a thing, but back in the days of my youth, no, it was not. Nobody knew what that was. People who did know, you had a bunch of grandmas thinking it's some sort of satanic ritual holiday, so yeah. You guys. Okay. Sam, here the security is good, all is well, the situation is stable. Our government recently told Belarus to mind their business, because this is, for the last couple of years, this has been the main threat, right? Those of you who have been watching, those of you who have been watching regularly, it's been Belarus at our border that has been bothering us for for a while now. And now again, right? Now again, they're gathering the troops at the border for their upcoming September military exercises with the Russians. And so, yeah, we already had some pretty heated exchanges with, them basically saying we're going to do what we want. And our government be like, don't you try any nonsense. And our armed forces also been like, do not even do that. But we have already discussed in the past, right, why this would be such a terrible idea of Lukashenko for many reasons. So let's hope he will be mindful and he will be careful and smart for once and not do anything stupid. But then again, you never know with these people, right? We were already hoping. Remember how several years ago we were hoping that Putin would be smart? Yeah. How did that work out for us? Hi, Moo. Hello. Really, Hell Bunny? Well, welcome. Yeah, we're going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, usually around this time. Here and on YouTube. On YouTube, we're also live. By the way, we will be looking at JD Vance. So, hi, Direwolf. Thank you. So many decorations. Starts in August. Oh my god. And Christmas begins November 1st. This is crazy to me. Okay, but sure, whatever works. Whatever works. Hi, Violet. Good to see you. I'm here. Why are we still here? Just to suffer. You know. Thank you. We're still here. And yeah, not just me, all of us. Doing our coverage of things and just talking, because that's what we do. This is pretty much what this life is at this point. Occasional news and me talking about random things. The Independence Day. So here it was okay. It was relatively quiet here. So in our particular region and in our area, it's not that big of a holiday because, so in a couple of days we will have a very sad anniversary. It's the anniversary of the, I believe, Ilovaisk cauldron. So this is from years ago, when our troops were encircled by the Russians in Donbass, and yeah, there was a massacre that followed. And so a lot of the people who died in that tragedy, they were from here. And so this time around, people here, they're kind of, yeah, they're more in the grieving mindset. Even now, nobody has forgotten, obviously, about this stuff that has happened. So yeah, it wasn't really big on celebrations or anything. Also, thankfully, we didn't see across the country. We didn't see, anything majorly horrible. As last time we were discussing, we were worried that something bad, even worse than usual, might happen. So. None of that, just the regular awful stuff, the regular shellings and the regular drones, so that was good. We didn't really do any particular celebrations in our household. So yeah, it was just quiet. Just quiet. Thank you all for your congratulations. It was very nice, so thank you to those of you who remembered. Okay. Let me see. Also, before that, we had the Ukrainian Flag Day, and we also had, Kharkiv had, those of you guys who remember, this is Kharkiv, right? This is our eastern, thank you, or hello, wait, what happened? No, thank you. I saw you joining. I was immediately like, hello, thank you. Anyway, so Kharkiv, our major eastern city in the east of Ukraine, and we were discussing last time how recently their weird leaders went all in on decorations and stuff. Well, that's because there was the Kharkiv birthday celebration, which is apparently pretty massive. I had no idea. Let me show you if I have it open before we go to the horrible things. Thank you, Don. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the team hearts and the roses and everything. So these were the decorations. So when we were talking about the local government in Kharkiv going all in, yeah, they really did go all in. Those of you who are not seeing this, that's because it's on YouTube, and YouTube is linked in the bio, okay? You can go there and you can see stuff on YouTube, so that's pretty neat, huh? You are echoing. You can try exiting the live and then coming back. Thank you, Dr. Chris. Thank you. Usually it works for the people who who experience these issues. Thank you. Time for Trump to unleash offensive weapons to Ukraine. We will see if there's going to be any unleashing in the foreseeable future. Hopefully there will be. Hopefully there will. For some reason, I kind of doubt that it's going to happen, but we will see. Wait, what is happening? Let me try something. Let me try pinning. Wait, no, it's also for 56 seconds. I thought I was gonna pin the comment for good, but no. I saw another creator do this during one of her lives, but for some reason I cannot do this. Okay, well, maybe I'm cursed. Well, I am cursed. Hi, Nick. Thank you for the roses. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good seeing you all. Anyway, so yeah, this was Kharkiv on their glorious city day. This is the person who posted it. Beautiful lady. I don't know her. Thank you. So yeah, it wasn't just the bizarre statues. It was also all the lights, and they had some massive celebrations in the city, which again, it just speaks to the contrast, right? We've talked about this contrast so much before, right? Kharkiv, it's a city that gets these daily shellings and daily attacks of Russian missiles and drones and everything, and at the same time, yeah, they also managed to celebrate and have fun and be proud of their city. I saw a bunch of people live streaming on the day of the occasion from the streets of Kharkiv, having a good time, cheering, singing songs, just, yeah, going all out, which, okay. I mean, this speaks volumes about their, just their spirit, I think. So, very courageous people. Wait, do they have an air raid alert right now? No, they do not. But Sumska Oblast, which is neighboring it, has one. Anyway, yeah, so this was Kharkiv before the Independence Day. Also, interestingly enough, we had BBC going crazy, as they do occasionally, and writing this incredible headline: Ukraine hits Russian nuclear plant as Kyiv marks Independence Day, was the headline. So if you are familiar with BBC, you would not be surprised about something like this happening at all, because this has unfortunately happened before. Just the mastery of the headline. Oh my god. Of course, this was not the case, right? This was not the case at all. Hi, Maddie. Hello. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Wait, where is that? No, this is a different article. Where did it go? Anyway, I'm just gonna tell you guys what happened. So basically, it was a debris from a drone that was flying elsewhere. The Russians intercepted it, and then it fell somewhere in the vicinity of the nuclear power plant. And this is the way BBC decided this event should be phrased: hitting Russian nuclear site as we celebrate our Independence Day. Great stuff. I think I can already imagine what the comments look like on this one. Let me see. Yep, a lot of Ukrainians swearing at the BBC. Okay, no, I'm not gonna read these comments. Let me just put it this way. A lot of people were very unhappy with this particular phrasing, but what you gonna do? Not the first time the mainstream media, Western mainstream media, has done something like this. And also, guys, I told you that we will not be having much Trump, so we will not be, but some of you during our live stream, previous live stream, told me to pay attention to his hat, that he has changed the hat. To those of you who haven't seen the new hat, I'm sure the Americans among us obviously have seen it, but yeah, this is the hat, you guys. It says Trump was right about everything. And also, today, coincidentally, I have learned that apparently he has now stopped 7 wars. How about that? Last time it was 6, now it's 7. So, I think next week is gonna be 14, maybe 20, 23. Anyway, so that's the new hat. But I wanted to talk about Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. We're gonna get to him in a second. Hello, everyone who's gathering on YouTube. Nice seeing you. Chelsea says, thanks, I hate it. Everybody clapped. That's exactly the sentiment that I think we all share. Everything, the hat, and just The imaginary wars that are being stopped, the good stuff. The good stuff, everybody. So, we have discussed, right? We have discussed how we are going to see a lot of the back and forth between the politicians in the upcoming weeks regarding the possible talks, the meeting between the leaders, Russia, Ukraine. Is it going to be a trilateral meeting? Is Trump going to be there? Where is it going to happen? So we're still in this phase. And so Russia decided to unleash their foreign minister, potato head, Lavrov, on all of us. And they started with their old favorite motif of Russia recognizing Zelensky as the de facto head of the regime and being ready to meet with him in this capacity, but constitutionally he is illegitimate, said Lavrov. To those of you who do not know, so recently, I'm not entirely sure when, but somewhere along the lines, Russians decided to claim that Zelensky is unconstitutional, right? That he's not actually a legitimate president of Ukraine because we were supposed to have elections, which is, yes, we were supposed to have, but then you attacked us. And now we have a martial law across the country. Now we cannot do that anymore, huh? Interesting turn of events. I wonder whose responsibility is that? Mr. Lavrov, anyway. Obviously, he didn't specify that. And so because of this, there were a lot of these talks about, well, how will the Russians meet with Zelensky? Zelensky is illegitimate, unlike Mr. Putin, who's most likely a clone and also was elected by the very honest 120% of the vote. Anyway, well, now they're apparently taking back this claim, and, well, yeah, they found a way to dance around it. They're saying that they're recognizing him as the de facto head of the regime, and the word regime, I know it could be used as neutral. It's more neutral sounding, and depending on the context. In Russian, it's purely negative. It only has negative connotations, and they refer to Ukraine and our government as the Kiev regime. Right? This is one of the telling signs that what you're dealing with is the Russian propaganda. When you see this little number being used, like, oh, it's Kiev regime announced. Yep, I know who you are. I know who you are. It's the Kremlin speaking. So anyway, recognizing Zelensky as the de facto head of the regime. Thank you so much, Russian Federation, for that. And then he talked to NBC, which was surprising. I did not expect seeing that. And oh my God, how good was this reporter? Let me show you.
Russia bombed an American.
Sorry, I'm going to make it a little louder because I cannot hear anything. And then we will... Okay, that's the clip. We will look at it and then we will discuss. Thank you, Zoe.
Border. I've spoken to people who frankly see that as a slap in the face to President Trump, to the entire peace process, isn't it?
Well, I would say that
Sorry.
Those who are sincerely interested in understanding what is going on should know by now that never ever Russia deliberately targeted any sites which are not linked to military abilities of Ukraine.
This is an electronics factory, though, sir. This is an electronics factory. I've spoken to people on the ground there. It builds
Look at him. He's so confused.
Machines,
what?
Among other electronics. This is not a military site.
Well, I understand that some people are really naive, and when they see a coffee machine in the window, they believe that this is the place where coffee machines are produced. Our intelligence has very good information. And we target only, as I said, either military enterprises, military sites, or industrial enterprises directly involved in producing military equipment for Ukrainian army.
Mr. Foreign Minister, here are the facts. Close to 50,000 civilians have either been killed or injured in this war. Russia has hit maternity wards, churches, schools, hospitals, a kindergarten just this past week. So either the Russian military has terrible aim or you are targeting civilians. Which is it?
Look,
Amen.
NBC is a very respectful structure, and I hope you
He's sweating.
are responsible for the words which you broadcast. I asked you to send us or to publicize the information to which you just referred, because we never targeted the civilian targets of the kind you cited. You might be mixing, the information, because it is a fact that quite a number of churches were purposefully hit by the Ukrainian regime.
What we just discussed.
Just civilian settlements.
But what about your actions? What about your actions, Mr. Foreign Minister?
Look, going by
Come on.
circles, I told you already what we mentioned repeatedly, that we never target civilian
That's
sites.
just a bunch of nonsense, right? They never target civilians, but that was a good segment, and that was a good interview. And clearly he either did not expect something like this to happen, or I don't know, he was just unhappy. Oh, thank you, Henrik. Oh, this is wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. So either Lavrov didn't expect something like this to happen, or he was just simply unhappy with the phrasing and everything. Because you could see at some parts of the clip that he is sweating. I don't know, maybe it's his normal color. Maybe he's... But look at this. He was not having a good time during this little moment. But yeah, he ended up parroting a bunch of propaganda, right? Didn't expect anything else from him. Didn't expect him to obviously admit to, for instance, what we were discussing last time and what the reporter referred to at the very beginning, the strike on the American factory that was manufacturing electronics in the Transcarpathia in Zakarpattia. Thank you, Dubsy. Thank you. Right, so obviously immediately said that this is a NATO whatever, right? This is used for manufacturing military equipment. We've heard this one before. How many times have we heard this one before? Whenever they hit something, this is being used as a NATO base, right? Or it's the Soros biolab, or it's a secret meetup of the witches and the wizards of the world. So we have heard all of this over and over again, a million times over. But yeah, I really liked how nonsense she was about this. And yeah, it was just, hi Josh, hello. Already discussing Lavrov being insufferable and lying to people on the mainstream media, as always. Thank you, Moo. Thank you, guys. Anyway, it was very refreshing because they're not used to this type of treatment. Because remember, right, so for the longest time possible, these people were not treated this way. They were always treated with, you had all these journalists almost bowing to them. So yeah, this is a new experience for Tavarish Lavrov. But yeah, he's just lying. He's just lying repeatedly, right? Exactly, 100%. Good morning. Good morning to you guys. If you would like to see Lavrov, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube, as always. I don't know. If you know, we are also live on YouTube. It's linked in bio. Anyway, a lot of lies. Not surprising at all. Something else that I wanted to point out, this little, the little comment that he made about the churches. It was interesting because I was expecting him to simply deny it, but no, they're still trying to push this line about us, so Ukraine being satanic, right, and anti-Christian, and recently they've been really trying to emphasize this part. So he lied that we're hitting all these churches deliberately, because we just have nothing better to do, I guess. So that was interesting. So he didn't say that those churches were used for, artificially manufactured poisonous pigeons or something. No, it was another lie. How interesting is that? Anyway, by the way, while we are on the topic of horrible people, JD Vance also commented on the situation, so... Okay, we're gonna get to that in a moment. It's the same reporter, by the way, talking to JD, that was talking to Lavrov and questioning him about the... Yeah, I know, they make all of us feel sick. I think this is our normal state of mind by this point in time. It's just awful. Right, exactly, Ram. This is one of their favorite... lines they're trying to push. They're trying to pretend like so Ukraine is satanic and dark and comes from the deepest pits of hell, and Russia is this paragon of light and Christianity and... Yeah, sure, of course, this is exactly what you are. Everybody believed that. But yeah, and from time to time you can see these little puff pieces, especially on social media from all of the, well, especially on X, let's be honest with ourselves here, of like Putin crying in the church, and the comment is going to be like something like, have you ever seen a man that devoted to Christ as Vladimir Putin? Pure cinema. It's just pure cinema, everyone. Anyway, are we gonna, do you guys want to look and listen to JD Vance, or let me know. I will accept your opinion. Obviously, we're not gonna look at the entire 20 minutes of him because it was a 20-minute piece, but he did have some things to say. With this usual facial expression of his, the baby killing facial expression. Right. Riding the bears, praying in the churches, saving the children by kidnapping them from their family. You know, the good old Putin stuff. Just Putin. Just no Vance voice, says Karen. Okay, we can just talk about some of the points that he has made. So, did he say anything new and surprising? No, of course not. It was basically him complimenting Trump all around. So, for instance, like this quote here: "What I admire about the president," meaning obviously Trump, is he is not trying to focus on every nitpicky detail of how this thing started, the war, the Russian war of aggression, on how this thing started 3.5 years ago. He's trying to focus on the nitpicky details of now. So this basically means we do not care, right, that they are the aggressor country and they have committed all of these horrible atrocities. We're going to pretend it hasn't happened, so that, I don't know, we can claim we have solved everything. And thank you, Maddie. Thank you. And that Trump can receive the Nobel Peace Prize, I guess, or an equivalent of this. This is what it means. Anyway, so yeah, it was just a really weird piece. If you know anything about Vance's general stand on Ukraine, it's pretty anti-Ukraine. I think by this point in time, we can all agree on this. He has made it perfectly clear he despises Zelensky. He doesn't care about Ukraine at the very best, at the very worst. Sometimes I feel like he wishes all the worst for us collectively. So, yeah, completely and utterly not surprised about this little turn of events, and also the attempts to, which is something that recently there has been a lot of, to make it seem as if we are the same thing, right? Russia and Ukraine. Like, oh, Russia and Ukraine can make the choice to stop the war, was one of the points that he also made in the same interview. No, not really. Not really, though. Is it, Mr. Vice President? No? Maybe there is a difference. Maybe there is a difference between a country that is attacking and invading and defending itself. No? Okay. What do I know? Yeah, so that was insufferable. Alice says he's worthless. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, so that was awful. Anyway, that was JD Vance, everybody. We're not gonna look at him. We had a prisoner exchange on the Independence Day. So two of the noticeable, very, very important cases that I wanted to point out. So among the many people who were exchanged, there was the former mayor of the city of Kherson. A reminder to those of you who do not remember where Kherson is, this is us going to the south of Ukraine. This is Kherson, our poor southern beautiful city that was thankfully liberated but is still under daily attacks, and when Russians occupied it for thankfully a short period of time, they did manage to imprison a lot of people, and a lot of these people are only being liberated now. Like, for instance, this guy that you're seeing right here, it's a former mayor of Kherson, Volodymyr Mykolayenko, and he was released from the Russian captivity. As you can see, what the Russian captivity does to a man, the first photo is him before he was captured by Russia, and the second one shows him after his release. This is him before. All right. And this is him after. This is him at the center of the picture. Just a completely and utterly broken man. And this is unfortunately a very common occurrence when we're looking at the images of the people who have survived the Russian captivity. Yeah. This is what they have done to the poor guy. A lot of them, so there are some reports of torture, a lot of reports, very common is psychological torture, a lot of beatings too. They're being starved, another common thing. Obviously, very often they're not receiving any medical care that they might need, which is, by the way, against all of the conventions, but also who are we kidding by this point in time, right? What conventions? It's the Kremlin we're talking about. But yeah, now he's back. He has been released, which is wonderful. It's good news. So hopefully he will get another chance at life, and yeah, will be able to recover as much as humanly possible. Another man that was returned from the Russian captivity was a journalist. Who was sent for forced psychiatric treatment. So this is journalist from Melitopol. This is another southern Ukrainian city. It's in relative proximity to Kherson. You can just okay, let me show you. I have a map. I have a map and I can show you where Melitopol is. So this is Kherson right here, right? And this is Melitopol. It's still occupied, and most likely, unfortunately, it's going to remain this way. Just on a personal note, a lot of nice memories connected to Melitopol, because whenever I would return to Crimea by train as a kid, we would always pass through Melitopol, and it was usually a couple of hours before Simferopol, it's the capital city of Crimea, and it was always this like nice feeling that, oh, we're almost home, right, when you were passing by Melitopol. Anyway, so this is Melitopol, and this is the local journalist, Mark Kaliush, who was captured by the Russians and sent for a forced psychiatric treatment. Because remember, right, unfortunately, psychiatry in the post-Soviet countries still has this distinct aftertaste of, being used as a punish when necessary, especially in Russia. Very much the case. In the Soviet Union, this was a very often method of torturing people. It was the very common method of silencing the dissidents and any sort of opposition, right? You would just send them for this compulsory psychiatric treatment, and then you will just do whatever you want with them, right? Just awful. And this is what they did to this Ukrainian journalist. They sent him to this forced treatment, which is not obviously treatment when you do not require it. It's torture. But yes, now he's back. He was detained in 2023, right, together with 6 of his colleagues who were working for the local news channels, and obviously refused to collaborate. So this is something that happens to the people on the occupied territories who refuse to collaborate with the occupational authority. They're being sent to prisons. Some of them could potentially be sent into torture chambers, or, as we have now learned, this is actually, I think, the first confirmed case that I have heard about. Anyway, he was accused of attempted murder, planning of a terrorist attack, illegal weapon possession, explosive possession, and after that, the Russian court decided to send him to this forced psychiatric treatment. Anyway, so the Russian facility said he has schizophrenia, but the Reporters Without Borders, the international organization, could not confirm this diagnosis, obviously. Oh, thank you, Yaya, thank you. So it's unclear where exactly he was being held in captivity. Was it in the city of Melitopol itself, so on the occupied territories, or was he sent to Rostov? Anyway, now he's back, and hopefully not broken, so let's hope for the best. Not the first journalist, right, that was captured. We have had tragic instances. We talked about Victoria Roshina, who was murdered by the Russians, a Ukrainian journalist who was murdered by the Russians on the occupied territories, whose body was received by our side months ago, who was recently buried. And yeah, there were also other instances as well. For instance, wait, do they have any image? Oh, I'm afraid my internet is getting a little wonky, everybody, so I'm really sorry if we're glitching. So I think my Wi-Fi is also going out, so no worries here. Okay, anyway, it's not loading for some reason. Oh wait, it is. This is another journalist who was also returned, sorry. Dmitro Chyliuk. So, yeah. So ideally, journalists are not supposed to be, thank you, are not supposed to be captured and tortured and murdered and sent in for the forced psychiatric torture. In a perfect world, right? But anyway, so yeah, we have another journalist who was returned, which is good. It's always good. I told you guys, it's one of the best things that could happen, right? Seeing the prisoner exchanges and people being brought back home, especially people who had to endure unfathomable things. So anyway, something good that has happened. Before we move on to something bad. So a lot of you are constantly wondering about the city of Sumy, so we're going to talk about Sumy in a moment. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oh boy. Jason says, sorry about JD pants. You guys. Oh, Maddie with the stickers. Yay. It's Mish and it's Chewy. You guys, Chewy has been on a rampage. He has been massacring our chickens, and I do not know what to do about it. It's awful. We're trying to keep an eye on her. We're trying our best. Everyone, she cannot go outside without a chaperone. One of us is acting like a chaperone, and still she somehow manages to strangle. Just today we had to bury another one. Oh well. Anyway, that's just Chewy report, everyone. Oh, yes, Josh, that's the Chewy. This is, yeah, perfect copy. It's on the news here today that he tried to call Zaluzhny after the Oval Office attack. Oh yes, he did. And Zaluzhny ignored his calls. So yeah, this is political drama, everybody. Wait, do I have a related article? Because I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. But yeah, it's been reported today that apparently J.D. Vance called Zaluzhny, who's our formal Iron General, right, the commander of our army, and is our current ambassador to the United Kingdom, and who a lot of people believe to be potential political competitor for Zelensky, right? So quickly, let's just get this out of the way. And apparently J.D. Vance called him to talk about this, I guess, because remember, he hates Zelensky, among other reasons. And then after that, Zelensky's aide, his right-hand man, the head of the presidential office, Yermak, you know what I think about that guy. Anyway, he flew to London to talk to Zaluzhny, and after that, apparently, hi Furman, good seeing you. After that, apparently, Zaluzhny said that no, he's not gonna be against Zelensky in any capacity. We'll see about that. Anyway, anywho. Thank you. Yeah, we're live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday around this time on here and on YouTube, everybody, right? So to those of you who are new and are just discovering that this is what we do, this is what we do. Just a little heads up. Yaya says, I work in a psychiatric hospital, so that was particularly right? It is absolutely infuriating. Thank you. It's always so painful, especially when, like, in our case, I obviously had to deal a lot with this stuff because some of you might remember the history of my aunt and, her mental health issues and everything. And yeah, it's just, the layers to this, it's just... I cannot even fathom diagnosing a healthy person with schizophrenia and then locking them up and then basically torturing them in the facility that, no. Oh, all right, everybody. Another horrible thing, and then hopefully we can talk about something happier for once. Where are you living? I'm currently in Western Ukraine. I'm in Volynska Oblast of Ukraine. I'm originally from Crimea, though, and I also lived in a bunch of different places throughout my life because I'm ancient. Anyway, mass strike on Sumy. This is Sumy. No, this is not Sumy. This is Crimea. What? This is Sumy, right here. It was actually just having another air raid alert it is currently having an air raid alert, right? So this is Sumy, and last couple of days were particularly loud. Many of you remember why. The front line is extremely close to the city of Sumy, and so is Russia. And unfortunately, yeah, this is a recipe for disaster these days. So there were about 10 arrivals in the residential area of Sumy. It was hit by drones. A bunch of buildings were set on fire. So yeah, this is what we call a mass strike, right? Whenever there is 10 arrivals, so when there is 10 hits, it means there were significantly more drones and other means sent towards the area. So anyway. Sorry. The official reporting from the local officials, they stated that there were no people injured or killed, which is good. This is good news, but still, it's something that has been happening more and more recently with the front line getting as close as it has, unfortunately. And there was also, unfortunately, too, a drone strike, something that we would, I believe, classify as the human safari, also in Sumska Oblast, where one person was killed and two were injured. A civilian car, was struck by an FPV drone. So, another common occurrence. There was also a horrible FPV strike, human safari strike footage from Kherson. I'm not going to show it to you, but it was, I believe, an older man walking his dog, and then they got hit. And so the dog was injured, and he was clearly in shock, and, he was trying to drag the dog away. It was posted in the Russian Telegram channels to cute, pop music, as they do. So to those of you who do not know, this is what they do. So the Russian drone operators who hit civilians in Kherson, then they turn this footage into like little edits and post this on the Telegram channels to, I don't know, showcase the brutality. They also think it's cool, I guess. So anyway, we're not going to be looking at that for obvious reasons. Those of you who know, you know. I never show any graphic footage on here, but there is a lot. Trump's son would have, what's his name? Don Jr. would have immediately told us that. Why is there no footage coming out of Ukraine? One of the most, if not the most, well-documented wars in history. So you just have to have eyes, I guess, open, and even not necessarily, you can still listen to stuff. There's so much footage coming out of Ukraine daily. It takes a particular kind of knobhead to not notice. Anyway, so this was Sumy. Everybody. Right, but Lavrov told us civilians aren't targeted, so oh boy. Right? He told us. Why would he lie? Why would the Russian foreign minister, Lavrov, lie to us? He is like the best guy I know. Yes, I am in Volyn for now, at least. For now. Thank you, Josh. That was very sweet. Okay. We had some relatively good news from the front line. So this is just one of the examples. But thank you, Zoe. Thank you, dear. We have had some updates on several villages liberated in the thank you. In the Donetsk Oblast in particular. I do not think the deep state map is reflecting it yet. Let me check. But there has been several, I think around 5 villages. Oh, thank you. This was very cute. Thank you so much. We had around 5 villages liberated recently. Let me see what is the recent on the map. No, I don't think it's showing it No, it's too early for this. Remember, I told you, right, that sometimes it takes time for these changes to be reflected. Anyway, hopefully it will be in a couple days. But yeah, this is just one of the examples of Novomykhailivka. But there were other places as well, and it's mostly in Donetsk. So good. I mean, we love to see that, right? This is always good news. And we also had another strike on the Putin's wallet. So this is the, once again, this is Ust-Luga. When we talk about the Russian, everything that has to do with Russian oil infrastructure, this is one of the names that constantly pops up because this is one of their most important facilities close to St. Petersburg. Let me see if I can show it to those of you who have forgotten what that is. It's one of their most updated, commonly used ports. Well, that's the place itself. Can I see the map, please? Wait, well, will we be able to see it? Oh, they want to sell us some land. No, we're not buying any land over there. This could not be good. So this is St. Petersburg, to those of you who remember where that is. I think many of you know. And yeah, so Ust-Luga is quite close to... Okay, I think this one... No, this is Lithuania. What? Anyway, I usually just say, right, it's close to St. Petersburg. And yeah, I think this should make most sense. Anyway, let's go back to the article. Where is it? There we go. And yeah, occasionally from time to time, the friendly drones happen to arrive and do things to Ust-Luga. Yeah, recently we have had, so this was, I guess, the Ukrainian Independence Day celebration. Let me see, I had a footage somewhere else. Well, this is not really footage, this is just the picture of the fire, with Medusa reporting on this too. But yeah, there has been a lot of these, and it caused some interesting deficits. For instance, at the Russian gas stations and at the gas stations in the occupied territories. Like in Crimea, the situation has been pretty unstable with the supplies, and yeah, there have been gigantic lines for people just having to wait for hours on end, which is interesting. But yeah, we've already talked about that before, right? We have talked about how this is a trend, and this is, as I like to call it, the real negotiations that are happening on the ground, right? This exchange of strikes, be it the intimidation strikes, the war crime strikes, the energy infrastructure strikes. It just, yeah, it continues. Unfortunately, wouldn't it be nice if that was not the case? So yeah, let me see if, because I will not be able to translate some of the terminology in this article. Wait, what is that? What's the uniting and transshipment of gas condensate? This makes no sense. Anyway, they hit something good. They hit something expensive. So, okay, all right, sure. Something else that I wanted to discuss. Yeah, so recently, all of these strikes that we have been seeing, they have been mainly conducted by the drones, because, as we have recently received a confirmation for, those of you many of us have been suspecting this, a lot of you have been warning me about something like this, but yes, Pentagon has apparently quietly blocked Ukraine's long-range missile strikes on Russia, something that former President Biden has unlocked. Because remember, right, we're operating on the principles of a video game here, right? You're moving forward, you're unlocking options. I know. What in the Mario is going on here? Anyway, so closer to the end of his term, Joe Biden allowed us to use the US provided ATACMS missiles to hit targets in Russia, which caused a lot of ruckus in Russia, and some pretty heavy, pretty important military goals have been hit thanks to that. But recently, many of you have noticed we haven't been seeing a lot of those, right? And we've been speculating and discussing what could have happened. Well, now we know. Now we know. I was hoping, silly me, delusional me, that perhaps they're just, saving up those missiles, and maybe we're planning for something, maybe for counteroffensive or anything. No, no, it's just Pete Hegseth, and the rest of them are like, no, that's enough. How are we supposed to talk to Russia if the ATACMS missiles are flying into their invading troops? Thank you. So yeah, the Defense Department has withheld approval. This is the Wall Street Journal reporting on this. The Defense Department has withheld approval for attacks as the White House has thought to entice Moscow to open peace talks. And also, a lot of you were wondering about the other long-range weapons that could have potentially been used because they were provided by our European allies. Why didn't we use them? Yeah, this is also, it's the same reason. It's the same reason as that, because those missiles cannot work without the US provided navigation data, right? So, which, it's just so funny. We have talked about the potential, like all of the potential of the European Union and the European security architecture, and how perhaps Europe can stand up, and show us how it's done. No, Europe needs permission from the US. To hit the targets with their weapons, because yeah, it's not only permission, they also need the data to do that. Cool. 10 out of 10. Wouldn't recommend. So yeah, I think this is something that we have been speculating on for a while, right? So this is not particularly groundbreaking, but okay, at least it's a confirmation of sorts. Oh well. I remember during some of the previous lives, some of you were asking about this, so there you have it. There's be careful what you wish for, everybody. Does the concept of truth exist in Russia? It used to, but recently it hasn't been fully destroyed. But you see, with things such as truth, you don't really need to fully destroy them. You can simply blur out the lines a little bit, right? And you can see this, I imagine, in your local politics probably too, right? You don't have to outright erase the very concept, the very notion of the truth. No. You just blur the definition. You change the definitions. You lie here and there, not all the time, occasionally, and then all of a sudden, truth changes, just loses its meaning. Which is something, I guess this is what happened. This is what happened there, somewhere along the way. I didn't notice the exact moment. By the time I noticed, it was already too late. So, right, exactly. The type of equipment that puts liquefied gas onto ships. That's what it was. I just couldn't translate it because that's... I'm not very good. I'm actually quite awful at technical English. And honestly, technical any language. Technical Japanese? No. Technical Russian, which is my native language? No. Technical Ukrainian? Also no. Just no. Not my thing. Not my... just not my thing. I had to learn a lot of I've already told you before, I had to learn a lot of the terms for all of this military equipment when I started talking about it. So all of these... I distinctly... And again, I remember mentioning this during one of the lives. I remember very clearly the day I learned the words shell. Because I didn't know you could use... I knew shell as in like the seashell. Right? That was the only shell I knew. I didn't know about it as in shellings. So, yeah. That was the thing. You're right. You're right, Blur. God, I can't stand Hegseth. Welcome to the club. I think that's all of us. I don't think we have a single fan of Pete Hegseth in this chat of ours. So, wouldn't be surprised. I think English is the only language that has a word for shelling. No, we actually have it too. Like in Ukrainian, this is obstrel, right? Okay, well, but it is different though, right? It could be different, a different type of shelling, not necessarily. Interesting. How is that man qualified to be Secretary of Defense? The dues qualifications are the equivalent of doing 3 years into an 8 to 10 year doctorate. But he's loyal. He is loyal. And he does what he is being told to do. And I think for certain players, this is more important than anything else. While we are on the topics of people who have surprisingly few qualifications, where is this article? Robert Kennedy Jr. has started following Russia Today. The fact that when I heard about this, about RFK Jr. recently. So yesterday he followed Russia Today on Twitter, I think. The fact that the most surprising thing about this to me was that he only did it now, I think, yeah, speaks volumes. I was like, really? Only now? I thought he already followed them for a while. Russia Today, to those of you who do not know, also known as RT, it was their attempt at rebranding several years ago. Anyway, this is one of the main Russian propaganda networks. It's run by the one and only Margarita Simonyan, one of the Russian key propagandists. Just let me show you Margarita Simonyan. And they are, especially recently, that's her, that's Margosha. Very, very, yeah, quite a character, Margarita Simonyan. This is the picture that she likes to use of herself. This is, I think, closer to what she actually looks like. But anyway, so that's Margarita Simonyan, and this is her network. This network receives a lot of money from the Russian federal budget, and it's responsible for spreading a lot of the Russian disinformation abroad. In particular, it's very actively targeting Spanish-speaking countries. So they have very active presence in Spanish-speaking countries, and they have also very active presence in Africa. But yeah, now RFK Jr. also follows them in his spare time. Okay, nice. Now, yeah, I don't even know what's gonna happen now. I don't really think it's gonna get worse, because it cannot. The worm has already gotten most of his brain anyway, so. Yeah, just a little fun piece of trivia, you know, I'm a big fan of RFK Jr., so. Everything I have heard about this man made me go, huh? Really? Oh well, you live, you learn. The worm wants out. Yeah, save the worm, please. Save the worm. Hi Gary, we're live Monday, Wednesday, Friday here and on YouTube. This is where we're looking at things. Okay, so this is something that... Okay, we're also going to talk about this in a second. While I try to... A DUI hire. Oh, they would hate this one, huh? I have trouble talking about the war in Icelandic. I don't think we even have the words. Right, this was something that also... This is another interesting topic. How many words do we even have to discuss stuff like this? Oh, hi Baileys, thank you. Good to see you. I do not think... Well, previously I didn't think that we had that many words in Ukrainian either, but yeah, we found them. We found them. A lot of them are loan words, so when we talk about different types of missiles, for instance, you have to use these borrowed words from other languages, mainly English. Interesting topic. Sorry. Wait, I have my mirror. So I do not have to use you guys as a mirror anymore, which is not nice. Not a nice thing to do. Okay, so to Lavrov talking about legitimacy and illegitimacy, one of our diplomats said that Lavrov has no right to talk about legitimacy. This is on the topic about what I told you guys before, that these politicians are going to go back and forth, right? So Lavrov is going to say a thing, then our side's going to say a thing, then JD Vance is going to say something. Trump is, I don't know, lost somewhere in his own little world. And yeah, this is what is happening right now. This is where we are diplomacy-wise. Okay. Yeah, we've already discussed this topic. Oh, the volunteer movement in Russia is dying, everyone. Are we sad? Are we sad about this? Yeah, let's discuss that as well. Because I don't think we have ever really talked about this that much, that there is actually a pretty active volunteer movement in Russia too, the one that supports the Russian armed forces. It doesn't want to load. Okay, maybe it's for the best. We'll see. Why is Russia Today's account still living in Brat Summer? They are in the perpetual state of Brat Summer. This is something that they do. This is just their way of life. Okay, hello? Yeah, we are working. Good. So, yeah. I don't know if you guys knew, but quite a significant part of the provision of the Russian army comes from the volunteers, especially in terms of different types of equipment. Sometimes it's also food. It depends, right? So it's quite ridiculous when you think about it, because it's one thing when we discuss about Ukraine having to do all this, considering how perpetually broke we have been since forever, and the state of our army. And then you have the powerhouse, right? The mighty bear and all of this. But then you remember how much they have been stealing from their army too, and then all of a sudden it makes sense. Anyway, so the volunteers, pretty active, fun. They're also fundraising not only in Russia but also fundraising abroad actively. There are multiple instances of some of them being caught fundraising in Europe. For instance, there was this case of, I think it happened while I was not streaming. Unfortunately, we would have had a lot of fun with that. So there was a guide lady working at the Louvre in Paris, France. She was a Russian guide, and while she was speaking Russian to the tourists in her group, she also did fundraising for the Russian army in the Louvre. So it's not only something that they do inside of the country. This is also something that they're doing outside, very happily too. There were also instances you might remember from a couple of years ago, for instance, of the same like volunteer movement in the Baltic countries, in Estonia, for instance, trying to ship the drones to Russia. So buying the drones locally in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and then trying to send them, but they couldn't. And the people who tried to do this got fined, which is good. But you can only imagine the scale of it, right? These are just the cases that we know of. But anyway, obviously the most important thing that's happening is happening inside Russia. So yeah, all of these things, again, no surprises here. What are they supplying? Thermal imagers. Even we have purchased, right? I think, how many have we purchased at the very beginning? Couple. For our forces, obviously the Russians are purchasing the same ones for their forces. The drones, sure. The equipment. But in recent months, there has been a crisis in the Russian volunteer movement. What happened? Trump happened, apparently. So ever since Trump started all of these conversations about the peace deal, and how, he's going to settle everything and the war is going to be over soon, the Russians stopped donating for their army. This is this was so unpredictable. I couldn't even think of something like this happening. But because there were all of these talks about this, the possible settlement on the Russian TV, it really affected the day-to-day Russians donating for their army. What is going on? We need to do something, but we need to unleash Medvedev out of his drunken basement and make him do something. So yeah, and this article is it's fascinating. It's a bunch of these people who collect donations for the Russian military. Like this one is from Bryansk, which is one of the Russian regions bordering Ukraine. So people there tend to be obviously much more enthusiastic about this type of stuff, because for them, they believe that what they're doing is they're defending their regions from the Ukrainian drones. It's just please use your teeny tiny brains. Take a couple steps back. Remember how a couple years ago there were no drones in your region before you invaded us. Okay, what am I even talking about? Anyway, so from this particular lady, she is very sad precisely because of the beginning of the talks process, whatever. So since February, right, when they began to talk about the truce, Trump began to humiliate Zelensky and praise Putin. And since then, the donations that the Russians have been raising have fallen sharply. So, because this is another interesting thing that, again, we have talked about before, so apologies for repeating myself, but remember there was a surge in the Russians enrolling into the army after Trump came and started talking about how there's going to be peace in 3 days or whatever? Because they thought, okay, I'm going to enroll into the army. I'm going to get all of this money, and they're getting a lot of money. For all of the horrors they're unleashing. I actually had a related article stating, right, that soldiers can earn up to 74,000 pounds, right? This is the article from the Telegraph. So what is it? 85,000 US dollars approximately, something like that. So a lot of money. And so they believed, right, okay, I'm going to cash in and then Putin and Trump will sign something and then I will be out. And then it didn't happen, so Interesting mentality. Anyway, so yeah, they're suffering. The volunteer movement is fewer donations, which, to be honest, to be fair, it's a problem everywhere. Ukrainian volunteers are also suffering because of this. The exact same thing, that people are not donating as enthusiastically, but they still do. Here they still do, and we still have pretty big fundraisers, and people are still purchasing tons of equipment for the Ukrainian army. So anyway, fewer donations, says the Russian lady. Previously, people donated an average of 500 to 1,000 rubles, and it worked because of the number of people, right? Yeah, this totally makes sense. So it doesn't really matter how small the donation is, what matters is how many. So even if it's like 5 rubles or 10 rubles, but if it's several thousand people donating, or even maybe, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people donating, then it makes all the difference. We have this rule of coffee here in Ukraine, right? So if you want to have a cup of coffee, how about you donate this money to the army instead? Or donate an equivalent of this cup of coffee that you're drinking to the Ukrainian armed forces. So anyway, what is this? Is this oil? Are they sending oil to the military? Okay, this is sad. This is just sad. Oh my god. All right, the Russian local businesses are saying, sorry, we have already given everything, we're on the verge of survival. And other regions, this is interesting, live in different world. So for some time now, I think the Russian border regions have been existing in a very different world, with the drones arriving quite often, and them being turned into the frontline regions, although it's not really talked about this much because the Russian government doesn't like this angle of it all. This was not the case. This was not the case several years ago. These people lived happily ever after, and they believed it was going to be incredible if they continue supporting Putin and the Kremlin and their wonderful decisions. And then something went fundamentally wrong. What happened? I guess we'll never know. So, yeah. Anyway, something else I wanted to bring up from this. What are they packing? Oh, hi Mirja, good to see you. How are you doing? We're already discussing a lot of horrible things, as always. The Russian volunteer movement is dying. What do you think about that? Is this juice? What are they doing? I don't want to know, honestly. But yeah, just a little, I thought it was such a fun little situation for them to find themselves in. But yeah, as you can see, some of them still receiving stuff. And another thing, yes, this is what I wanted to talk about. The fear and fatigue and the overall, just the civilians in the areas, the locals in the areas adjacent to the front, being terrified of the Russian military. So after their first encounters with the Russian military, the image of this propaganda-induced glorious Russian soldiers started to collapse gradually for some reason. I don't know why. It's hard to say. Again, we will probably never learn the truth. Hi, Santa. Thank you. But yeah, so this is a quote from one of the volunteers. Parents say to children, if you see our military, go to the other side of the street. Immediately brings back all of the reporting on all of the assaults and murders and everything committed, in particular in the occupied territories. So this is something that the occupied territories of Ukraine had to live with for a while now. All of the attacks, especially on young women, on girls, right? We'll understand what I mean here. And now, unfortunately, for them, this violence also came to the Russian regions that are now frontline regions. So, anyway, people running away from the military, just not liking the military overall. There were also reports from the same article. Wait, what is this? These are boxes that are saying tea. So this is what they're donating, right? This is what they're donating to the Russian military. Tea, t-shirts, underwear, tissues, gamashi. What is gamashi? I have no idea what gamashi is, and I'm too afraid to ask. I'm sorry, I'm not going to Google it. I don't know. What if it's something disgusting? We're not going to do that. Sweets, again, t-shirts, and more. Okay, it's just, sure. I mean, that's better than the drones, so okay. Let them send tea to The reports of them, of the Russian military positioning the equipment, the military equipment, very close to the houses. Again, surprise, surprise. Welcome to the reality that people of Donbass have been living with for, more than a decade at this point. Anyway, yeah, so that was just an interesting tidbit that I wanted to share with you guys. Let me see what you all are saying. Rough solution. Oh, hey Tim. Hello. Good to see you. Also, look at this article by The Telegraph. Look at this romantic Russian couple, so in love. Russia's new middle class can't afford for Putin's war to end, says the headline. Why is it written this way? Thank you, Darewolf. Why? Are we supposed to feel sorry for them? Oh no, if the war is gonna be over, they will lose the money. Aw, they will lose the money. What are they gonna do then? This is why it has to go on. What? Deathonomics. I imagine someone who came up with this. The journalist at The Telegraph that came up with this one was probably very proud of himself. Deathonomics is transforming Russian society. Few would welcome peace. Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. Okay, good for them. Just to get a very weird angle to take on. You know what's gonna happen in 10 years, maybe even earlier, you guys? Let me share something with you. In a couple of years, maybe earlier, Hollywood will start making movies about this stuff. Yeah, and we will have to live through a bunch of movies about the poor, Russian lady named Varya, and how she couldn't afford a new car and she had to send her husband named Soma to kill a bunch of Ukrainians, and how it was really hard for them because they couldn't live, love in these conditions. This is what's going to happen. It's going to happen, and we will have to be there for this, and I think a part of me has already accepted it. They already made a movie. It wasn't Hollywood. I think it was someone in Europe who made it, like a love story between a Russian and a Ukrainian who were separated by the war. And yeah, while it's actively happening. So just imagine what awaits for us in 3 to 4 years, at the very least. All right, The Telegraph popping off. Cool. Okay, wait, I wanted to talk about something else before we... a lot of you were asking about the polls, the Zelensky-Zaluzhny polls. We have a recent polling. We're going to discuss this in a sec, everyone. Sorry, let me see. Oh, wait, I want Gamashi too, says Farid. I don't know what that is. I don't think you do. It could be something terrible. It sounds like some sort of footwear. Honestly, if I had to guess as a native speaker, I would probably think it's something that you wear on your feet. But then again, sometimes they have these bizarre words for things that I couldn't even fathom. I couldn't even imagine something like this. I remember the first time I learned the word shanyushki, it petrified me to my core. It's kind of similar to gamashi in a way, right? It's some sort of a dish that they make in Ural Mountains. I had no idea. I was clueless. Mirja says, you ask from a Finn what I think about Russians. That's exactly why I ask, you know? If you know, you know. Slava, Героям слава, guys. Героям слава. Let me see. Okay, I think all is good. We have caught up on everything that's happening. Is it leggings? Leggings? Oh, okay. It could be that. Okay, now I'm not as... Oh, thank you, Josh. I love this one. Thank you. Now I'm not as scared of... Okay, let's Google. Let's Google what is gamashi and let's call it a day. Gamashi. Jesus, take the wheel. Okay. No, it's the footwear, I think. Oh, thank you, Scott. Wait. No, I think I'm also wrong. What is happening? В'язані або шиті з щільного товстого матеріалу чохли без подошв, що закривають шиколотки, іноді доходять до коліна. Huh? Excuse me? Wait, okay, so it's this thing that you put on your footwear. What's the word, you guys? Let me know. What is the word for this one? So you put it on top of your footwear to cover up the ankles, I guess, and to serve as what if you do not have the boots, maybe, to protect you from I don't know. If we have any native speakers in the YouTube chat, which I know we do, tell me, what would you call this thing? Apparently it's in Russian is gamashi. I had no idea. It's my native language. But also, it also gives, this is the Ukrainian store though, right? So the Ukrainian stores are also giving a bunch of leggings as a result. But I think they mean this. I think they mean this stuff, right? That you wear on top of your footwear. Anyway, we're also live on YouTube. So if you want to let me know what the thing we're looking at is, please go to YouTube and let me know. It's linked in the bio as always. I have no idea. Hi, Annette. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Little heart to all of you. Leg warmers. Okay, could be. Yes, I think we have a winner. Thank you, Mircha. Thank you. The leg warmers. Oh, gaiters. Okay. Gaiters, everybody. New word for me. In all the languages that I know, I had no idea what that was. But yeah, so this is what they're sending to the to their arms. So I mean, it makes sense. I also see a bunch of options at our local store, so I imagine it's probably popular for our forces as well. Okay, I like this one. Okay, now this, I could wear this one. Look at that. Wait, can I open the full picture? I could wear this one. What do we think? Now this is nice. It doesn't want to open. But this is nice. I like it. It's a little funky. There's also another one. Oh, is this leather? Wow. Okay, now that I could get on board with, but okay, so leg warmers are for cold and gaiters are for wet. So these would be the gaiters then. Okay, we have clarified that. Stops mud going into your boots and your trousers getting half kilogram of mud attached. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense, you guys. And these are leg warmers. What is happening? I'm confused. No, I don't like this game anymore. I don't like this game anymore. Should we, right, Betty? Should we do some merch? Let's do the gamashi as a merch. Now that would be unexpected. No one would see that one coming, and that's for sure. Not the gamashi. What would we put on them? Chewy on the left one and then mish on the right one. That would be nice. But then also I wouldn't even be able to ship it to so many of you guys because so many of you in the United States and Trump ended the de minimis. So we cannot have nice things, I'm afraid. I think they'd look good on all of us, Direwolf. Honestly, I think we should all get some. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, you guys. Now we know. So many new things we're learning today. Well, I am learning. Hi, Feisty. Good to see you. Yeah, I guess we have the word of the day. We haven't done the word of the day in a while. But because apparently it also exists in Ukrainian too. I think it would be just hamashi. It sounds like it's a weird Japanese word. Yep, we have this too. It's hamashi. Hamash. Okay. I think it sounds nicer in Ukrainian. I like the Ukrainian sound. It's very, I don't know. Feels like home. It's like the chicken soup for your soul. Hamashi. Alrighty. That's cool. Oh, galoshi. No, that's another one, Moo. That's a different one. Okay, sorry. We have a lot of people weighing in on the situation. Okay. That's a wonderful discovery. I like that one very, very much, everyone. Anyway, let's see what's the air raid. Okay, it's still pretty relatively quiet air raid alerts wise. Better choose green instead of blue and yellow. You have a couple pairs already. These boots are made for goose walking. Yeah, and that's just what they'll do. Okay, wait. I had something else I wanted to... I'm pretty sure I had some other topics, but I get confused really easily. Yes, Zaluzhny and Zelensky, everybody. So, during one of the previous live streams, perhaps a million years ago, someone asked about the potential, like, what's going to happen, right? So, if the presidential elections were to happen in Ukraine, in this poll, they're asking, if presidential elections were held this coming Sunday, for which candidate, if any, would you vote? And so the two leaders are Zelensky and Zaluzhny, as I told you before. So Zelensky's polling is 31-32 and Zaluzhny's polling is 25-26. The rest of our politicians and public figures are not even close. So the next one is Petro Poroshenko, our former president, the chocolate oligarch, 6 to 7%. Then there is Kirill Budanov, who's the head of our GUR intelligence, 5%. And then Razumkov is still in the polls. Okay, no, I'm not going to react to that. Then we have Prytula, Sergei Prytula. He's a former showman, which, you know, this is how a lot of our politicians apparently start out. And he's currently the head of the charitable Sergei Prytula Foundation that is providing aid for the frontline troops. So he is at 3%. And then Yulia Tymoshenko, my favorite, also at 3%. And yeah, so the rest of them also 3, 2, 1, and yep. I guess that's pretty realistic. I think this is the most realistic one I have seen so far. Interestingly enough, they haven't called us for this one, because so usually for a lot of these polls, you would just get calls from these organizations directly. And my mom loves to talk to these people. So whenever there are polling people calling her, she goes on rants. She talks to them for hours sometimes. I think the longest one was almost 2 hours she talked to these people. So I think because of that, they have probably written her number down as, okay, this Ukrainian lady is definitely going to give us a bunch of opinions on things. And so now a bunch of these polling people are just randomly calling my mom and then they have to listen to her yell at them about the politicians for a very long time. Anyway, but no, regarding this one, we haven't received any calls, but this would probably be, I guess, we would probably put Zaluzhny above Zelensky in my family, but that's us. And also we had a surprisingly optimistic poll, which I did not expect it, honestly, to turn out this way. So this is, again, they were asking the Ukrainians, in your opinion, when will the war end? 24% of the people said in less than 1 year. 35% of people said in 1 or 2 years, which again is okay. Then 15% said in 3 to 4 years. 12% said in 5 years or more. 5% said never. And then 9% said difficult to answer or no answer. I love the 5% who said never. Those are my people. They understand. They understand the situation that we find ourselves in, unfortunately. So yeah. But as you can see, the majority is pretty optimistic. So we have a total of 59%, 58, not 59, 59%. I cannot count. 59% believing that the war could potentially be over in less than 2 years. So, all right. Compared to the February of 2024, the number of people believing that it's going to end in 5 or more years has increased. And yeah, also the number of people who responded never also increased, but the majority is still pretty optimistic. Hey, that's good. I thought that was not the case at all. I thought we were all in the, darkest pits of despair. No, it's just me. And a reminder to those of you, right? So whenever you listen to an individual from any any walk of life, they will always be biased, right? And their experience is always their anecdotal experience. So it's important to look at the data. Because, you know, silly old me only has her own experience and her own... What is that? I think it's my dad. And her own opinion and her own perspective. Other people have different ones, so... Oh, okay. Good evening to you too, Suzanne. Has Zaluzhny said he would run for president? Not yet. But there have been some interesting moves, as Cardi B would have said, money moves from him. He had something of a rebranding recently, which, to be fair, makes sense because he's now our ambassador to the United Kingdom. And then also he started posting the way politicians post on social media, you know, the people with the PR team and social media team post on social media. So that was interesting. A lot of motivational stuff, you know, little snippets, you know, his thoughts on the war and and then also recently he did a photo shoot for the Ukrainian Vogue. I know. But this recent piece that we have just discussed, it suggests that apparently they, at least for now, they have come to some sort of agreement with our presidential office that at least for now he's not gonna, you know, he's not gonna be against Zelensky in any capacity. But this might change. And for now, this is where we are. We haven't even had any sort of potential announcement for the upcoming elections. This is mainly our politicians betting that they're probably... So the people who believe that there will be any sort of ceasefire signed, believe then after that we will immediately have the elections. And so some politicians are betting on this, and they're already campaigning in Kiev. Not here. Here no one is complaining. Everyone is sitting in the swamp and being sad. Again, personal bias, but so we will see. We will see in the upcoming year, hopefully, if we make it. Okay, I need a little sip of tea to keep things civil. Alrighty. The link to the article. You mean the one with the polls? Because let me know if that's the one that you mean, Zoe. Yep, Blur, 100%. 100% that. Okay, so this one it's actually two articles, and they're both from Ukrainska Pravda, quoting the poll. I do not see the actual poll. Okay, I'm just gonna send both into the YouTube chat. How do I do that? Okay, that's the first one. And let me see. It's like I have seen computer for the first time today, you would think, just based on how I operate. Takes me a million years to do the most basic things. There you go. There you have it. This is Ukrainska Pravda quoting. What's the poll? I have no idea. There's so much information. Wait, what is that? Okay, that's another interesting one. Would you like to see new political parties in the future elections, or are you satisfied with the current choice? 74% of people said that they would like to see the new political party. Yes, because everyone is tired of our politicians. I told you a million times over. The reason why Zaluzhny, I think, is polling so high is because he's a new face, right? In politics, at least. And until 2022, the majority of the people in this country had no idea who he was, because it wasn't really popular. It wasn't like a common topic of conversation talking about the military and who commands the military, despite the fact that we have been at war since 2014, actually. Some people say 2015. Well, anyway, just send the articles into the YouTube chat, so please enjoy. And yeah, we're almost at 50,000 likes. I'm just saying thank you. Thank you everyone who's tapping. I really appreciate it. Hopefully it will show the stream to at least the people who follow me. This would be nice. Can one hope for more? No, not really. I always thought this move to the UK was like a preparation for Zaluzhny to run. Not really. So there was a very messy situation between him and Zelensky in the last couple months before he was fired, before Zelensky was fired, and a lot of people looked at this as a sort of as an exile of sorts, pretty much. But at the same time, they really wanted to play it out as if it was on friendly terms, and there was no beef. There was beef. There was a lot of disagreements, and the main problem was that Zelensky's ratings were already very, very high, and our presidential office didn't like that very much. But also there were other problems too. So yeah, the fact that they send him away. So what our government does, one of the most insufferable, annoying things that they do, and they do a lot of insufferable, annoying things. The moment someone is no longer the moment they don't like someone, right, some official, or some official is facing criticism, so something goes down, they send off this person to be an ambassador somewhere, and depending on that person's reputation or how much they like this person, they receive the seat basically depending on that. So like, for instance, our former, I think, prosecutor general, who's one of the worst people in the country, allegedly. You didn't hear that from me. She is now our ambassador to Liechtenstein because, of course, ideally, of course, she should have been, I don't know, persecuted maybe by the new prosecutor. No, she's the ambassador to Liechtenstein because sure. And so we we have a lot of these instances. And I think, yeah, them appointing him as the ambassador, it was them trying to play it off as like, okay, we're cool. Look, we're doing to him the same thing we're doing to all of our buddies. So we're buddies, we're friends, right, buddy? Anyway, something else I wanted to say regarding this appointment, I forgot. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. It was this huge drama when it happened. We were all devastated. Oh well. It is what it is, I guess. As always, right? As always. Where are you located? Like Donbass? No, dear, no, I'm not in Donbass. I'm in the western part of Ukraine called Volynska Oblast, but I'm originally from Crimea, which is in the south, the deep Ukrainian south. So, if I were in Donbass, you would hear probably a lot of explosions in the background right now, depending on the place I would currently be in, but. Oh, that takes me back. That takes me back to 2022 when we had people asking, why can I not hear artillery in the background? This is not directed at you, dear. No, it's just we had some characters in the past. Why is your house standing? What is if this war is real? Why is the house standing? I don't know what to tell you, Melanie. I do not know why Russia sucks, but I'm grateful that it does. Anyway. Couple of days ago, everyone, we also had very sad news. So during our last live stream, someone asked about the ghost of Kiev, right? And I explained that this is the name that was given to a brigade that was defending the skies above Kiev in the first days of invasion. So we had, unfortunately, recently in tragic news, one pilot from that brigade died. So it was on August 23rd while returning from the mission. So they're not specifying what exactly happened. By the sound of it, it sounds like an accident, but we'll have to wait. So yeah, let me see. His name was Serhiy Bondar, and yeah, he was one of those famous ghosts of Kiev, the 40th Brigade of Tactical Aviation. Rest in peace. Something that I wanted to tell you guys about too. Thank you, Tizai. Good to see you. YouTube. Liechtenstein is one of the smallest countries in Europe, right? But it's also very nice. And I think she's an ambassador to it's Liechtenstein and somewhere else as well. Maybe Belgium too? No, I'm not sure. Anyway, but it's nice, you see. And originally she was supposed to be an ambassador to Switzerland, it was infuriating when it happened. But anyway, good evening, Kate. The reason why it was so infuriating to see, thank you, Tizai, is because, so she was in charge of some of the, paid persecutions of some of our activists, for instance, and the activists that she was prosecuting, they're currently in Ukraine, either fighting or, fundraising for the drones and stuff. And she's out there in Liechtenstein doing God knows what. So, and also another bad thing about this is that not only is, I genuinely believe this is not a good look, but also how much of a diplomacy can we actually talk when people like this are being appointed as diplomats, and they don't even speak any foreign languages. They do not have any education. They do not understand where they are being sent. They're just being sent there because they're on good terms with, people in the office, I guess, whatever. It's so annoying. It's just beyond insufferable. Okay, sorry. All right. And this is, okay, we talked about Belarus already, thankfully, that it's still out there, and it's been warned. Ukraine, this article reads, Ukraine warned Belarus from provocations and advised to not get closer to our borders. Dun dun dun. So yeah, that was a friendly advice to Lukashenko. We will see. Yeah, this is going to be very tense. September is going to be pretty tense. We'll see what's going to happen. Hopefully everything will be nice and good and calm and stable. Probably not. If Russian is your native language, do you still primarily speak Russian or have you switched to Ukrainian? Here, ever since we moved here, I was speaking only Ukrainian to people, despite the fact that a lot of locals wanted to speak Russian to us upon hearing that we were from Crimea. Both me, who's fluent in Ukrainian, and also my parents, who are okay in Ukrainian, we have been stubbornly speaking Ukrainian only since since we moved. So since when was it? 2015, 2016. Yeah. So this was very stubborn position on our behalf. But yeah, some people, they were so insistent on speaking Russian. It was so weird. I don't even know why. Like, especially when they would, with me, no, because they usually couldn't tell. They could tell that I'm not from here, but they couldn't tell that I'm like from the Russian-speaking region. But with my parents, when they would hear the accent or them kind of stumbling, they would immediately switch to Russian and be like, oh, it's fine, we can speak I'm very good at Russian. Let's speak Russian, it's fine. So it was such a glass-shattering moment for us, because the stereotypes about the Western Ukraine and Crimea were always like, if you utter a word in Russian in those places, they're gonna kill you. They're gonna boil you alive. They will eat your children. And then we come here and our neighbors are listening to Russian music. Everyone is watching Russian shows about the menты from Rublevka, the cops from the, these hip areas of Moscow. And, yeah, that was weird. Oh, yeah, memories. Right, it is. Thankfully, it is one of the smallest exercises. But still it's pretty unnerving, I hope it's not gonna happen, because all of his oil refineries, Lukashenko's oil refineries, are very close to our border. He knows it. We know it. Well, Moser is one of the biggest ones, and it's super close, so I really hope he doesn't try anything, but we'll see. Especially now, having the live reaction to the Russian oil refineries quietly disappearing from the map. Hopefully. We're already at 62,000 likes. Thank you, guys. Sorry, I got distracted as always with my ranting. I know you like my ranting. Well, yeah, it was always very clear to us that this is something that we have to do, and it was always something that we tried to do, and I couldn't even fathom, honestly, speaking any other language. Like, I would come to Kiev, where a lot of people until I think it started changing in 2014, to be honest. From 2014, more people started speaking Ukrainian, but before that, it was mostly Russian, and I would still stubbornly speak Ukrainian to them, and they would look at me weird before 2014. It was not all of them, but some of them. What was the other play? No, it was never even a part of the equation. Now, in Crimea, it was an entirely different thing. It was, back home. So it just felt different, but everywhere else, it was very principled position. So, yeah. What's happening? Is it? Maybe it's this thing choking me. It's called a choker for a reason. Okay, we'll see. We will see. We will see. We will see. Hopefully, we will live. Anyway, all right, everyone. We have discussed, I think, by this point in time, most of the topics that I had planned. Now that I look through the list, there could be another sale of the missiles from the United States, the Iran missiles, but we will see. It's for now, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Hopefully it will be the case. We also had some updates on our Flamingo missiles that made Russians all unnerved, that apparently there are way more of them than we previously thought, which is okay, wonderful. I'm still very pissed at them for showing up at the plant and letting the journalists in. Not a good idea. But aside from that, I think we have covered most of the topics that I had planned. So let me know if there are any... Okay, Poland's acting up. That's one. Oh, Polish president. This is also something. Who's not the biggest fan of ours. I think we talked about him before. Karol Nawrocki. Anyway, so he apparently used his veto right. He vetoed the law extending aid and special status for Ukrainian refugees in Poland, which is one thing. But apparently this law, according to one of the Polish ministers, Krzysztof Gawkowski in particular, this veto means that Warsaw will no longer be able to cover the cost of Starlinks for Ukraine. Because remember, right, Starlinks, yes, those, yes, belonging to him, those Starlinks, they're still the main means of communication for our troops at the front line. So those have been provided for us jointly by our NATO partners. Poland has been a massive player in that, so there are players paying for the terminals themselves, and we here, so the soldiers themselves and the volunteers who are fundraising for this, they're paying the monthly subscription fee and stuff, so it's like a joint effort, right? And so yeah, apparently according to this Polish minister, this veto could potentially affect the Starlinks. We will see. Maybe not. It's one of those things that is currently unraveling. We will have to see. It's a developing story, everybody, but again, not particularly surprising considering everything that's been going on recently between us and Poland, and Nawrocki in particular, trying to, I don't know, make a statement, show everyone how incredible he is. Oh, thank you, Annette. Thank you so much. Okay, we talked about the prisoner exchange. It's Trump. No. Very little Trump today, you guys. I think this is a personal accomplishment for all of us. Okay, we can talk about this piece of Russian propaganda because this was very interesting, how they talk about the Baltics, how they recently escalated the rhetoric. Yay, Annette, thank you so much. Thank you for the heart. Thank you. All right, just a moment. I'm gonna catch up with you as fast as I can. Sorry about Nawrocki, we tried. You guys, we already have a rule here, right? Americans are not apologizing for their, for Trump and Vance and the rest of them. You guys do not apologize for that. It's a phase, right? It's a phase. Let's think of it as a phase that we collectively have to go through. But yeah, he's quite a character. We have noticed it. in many regards, but you know, thank you, Annette, thank you so much, thank you guys. And almost 70,000 likes. You guys are going off. Thank you, team. On Monday, NATO is preparing to defend the Finnish direction with several army divisions. So this has been interesting enough, the ongoing process, right? The reinforcement of the eastern NATO flanks, which good. I say good. Thank you, Annette, once again. Aw, this is very nice of you. Thank you. This is good, and this makes all the sense in the world with the situation unraveling and constantly threatening to spiral out of control. Better to be safe than sorry. By the looks of it, thank you, Henrik. They have changed the approach, right? Because remember, the approach used to be we're going to let them occupy the Baltics or whatever, and then we will liberate them in 180 days. That was the approach before 2022. Then everyone saw what was happening in the occupied territories of Ukraine and what the Russians were doing. And they were hopefully like, let's not actually let them occupy anything. So fingers crossed. But this brings us to the topic that I also wanted to discuss. So the Russian state TV, citing a Polish source, because we know how much Russian propagandists love and respect Poland, sure, anyway, claimed Estonia is allegedly preparing a preemptive strike on Russia. Mind you, this is something that we have heard before. We have heard this in regards to Ukraine before the beginning of the full-scale, thank you, Madsen, in 2022. So let's see. What is...
Глава дипломатии Евросоюза по совместительству экс-премьер-министр Эстонии Кая Каллас заявила, что Евросоюз, несмотря на заявление Дональда Трампа, не верит Путину и будет дальше вооружать Украину. Одновременно эстонский МИД запретил своим гражданам ездить в Россию. Отдельного внимания заслуживает материал в польском издании ОНЕТ, в котором сказано, что Эстония готова нанести по России превентивный удар.
Превентивный удар.
Ударим первыми. Будем сражаться как дьяволы.
Why is her voice like this?
Эстония планирует в течение 4 лет увеличить военные расходы до 5,4% от ВВП, а прямо сейчас Эстония уже укрепляет границу с нашей страной. Федеральные власти возводят заграждения на протяжении более 300 километров. Гражданское население готовится к гипотетическому конфликту с Москвой. Люди в приграничных регионах строят персональные подземные бункеры на случай ядерной войны и вступают в так называемую Лигу обороны.
Now why would they do that?
Если начнется
I wonder
война.
Why would Estonia, a country that shares a border with the Russian Federation, that used to be occupied by the Russians, and that the Russians are constantly announcing would be one of their next targets, would do something like reinforcing their border with Russia? And why would the Estonians be joining a defense league, which is, I imagine this is probably the analog of the territorial defense that we have here? Why would they increase their defense spending? Any ideas? Do we have any brilliant minds in the chat who could possibly suggest to us why would they do something like this? Also, the reason why this woman sounds like this, we will never know. This was Olga Skabeva, one of the Russian top propagandists. She has always sounded like this. Yeah, that's... It's not a bug, it's a feature, everyone, I guess, because I think she's still at the primetime slot on the Россия 1, one of their main channels. The flamingo thing is to prove to Trump that you can attack on your own without the US weapons, among other things, yes. But it's also funny considering that it's like 99% that it was developed together with the Western partners. Just 100% actually. So, oh well. Oh well, some performance is happening regarding that, as always. A mystery, right? The biggest mystery of life. Anyway, why would Estonia do something like this, you guys? Let's see. Do we have any suggestions? I think it's Russophobia. I think the answer might be Russophobia, everyone. It's like a caricature of a Russian accent. Right, she doesn't even have to do a caricature, Josh. That's just the way she is. That's just the way she speaks. Estonia, готовится к нападению на Россию. Nice. Right, exactly. Preemptive defense, bingo. Because everyone has seen the horror, what happens when they actually do, when you wait and you give them chances and you hope, oh, maybe they won't invade like we did. They're good people. They won't do this. Yeah, sure. Oh boy. Estonia will be in Vladivostok in 3 days, you read it here. They don't need this though. They're normal people, Estonians. I like Estonians very much. They just want to live their life. Just like, honestly, I think all of us who are normal and decent or adjacent, voices like that cause me to lower volume very low. Yeah, she's best on mute. That's one of those people who is best on mute. Olga Skabeva is definitely one of them. Anyway. No need to explain, right? That specific propaganda talking point is for the Russian audience, not for the Western. But I think it's important to dismantle it for the Western audiences as well, because they might not understand. They might not necessarily... I know a lot of you guys do, but sometimes people don't necessarily draw these connections. They might not hear something like this and be like, wait, this is exact rhetoric that they used before the invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Because perhaps people were not following the situation back then. Anyway, so yeah, this was Оля. Девочка Оля. Немного боли. It's an ancient reference. Anyway. Also, a good thing, so we mentioned Poland's bizarre president and his, everything that he's doing. A good thing, a good Polish person, because remember, right, there are more good people out there, and Poland overall has been very good, very kind to us. This is something that I really like. So the renowned Polish surgeon, Robert Bartoszewicz, apparently has been helping out our specialists in Lviv, and they have been restoring hearing to 7 Ukrainian military personnel and civilians in just 2 days, right? So they have been conducting these surgeries on our veterans, our military too, at the Unbroken Center. This is the one that Prince Harry visited. Remember a couple months ago when Prince Harry was visiting Lviv, and everyone was like, oh my god, it's Prince Harry. Yeah, so this is like the rehabilitation center for the Ukrainian veterans. And during the surgical procedures, the Polish surgeon Robert Bartoszewicz actively shared his experience with Ukrainian doctors and taught them how to perform such operations independently. And also, I think this is not the first time something like this was done. There were also surgeries like this before, which is incredible. So we had many wonderful people helping us. Oh, thank you, Josh. Oh, this is adorable. Thank you. So yeah, just something good, because I don't like the way all of this has been, this rhetoric of negativity and conflict and hostility has been sparkling up between Poland and Ukraine. I understand it's perhaps inevitable. Too many players are interested in this. Too many politicians are getting points out of this, out of playing out all of this. But we have so much more good things in common, and we have such a bright future together, hopefully. Oh, thank you, Annette. And we have such great potential as allies and partners. God, what a waste this would be if it all went to hell because of 5 to 10 stupid men in the government. All right. Okay, everybody. We will be wrapping this one up on this wonderful note of unity. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. We have 9 more minutes before the end of the live. We're at 84,000 likes. Crazy stuff. Thank you all. I appreciate it very, very much. I think we should rename the Flamingo into the Lavrov delivery service. I really need another improvised military device to be named after Russian secretaries. You guys. Okay, let's see. Sorry. Flamingos. I know. Everybody, just a second, sorry. Is everything okay? Hey, Madsen, what did you do? I just saw a notification. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, I appreciate it. You guys. Yesterday there was a great Independence Day gathering in Warsaw, which is wonderful. And it's just, again, it's so important to remember, right, how exceptional So many of the Polish people have been to us, and I imagine the majority of our people also acting normally in Poland. Obviously, we also have some bad apples. Yeah, there have been some instances recently, but the majority of the stuff is unfortunately just completely and totally blown out of the proportion because it's an easy way for the politicians to write. Right, so... you guys, I know. At least she doesn't sound like Marjorie Trader Green. You mean Ola Skabeva? I honestly, I don't even know which one of them is worse. Marge or Ola? I think it's just two sides of a very, very similar coin. Very similar metal. My favorite thing about Lavrov, says Chelsea, is how little makeup it would take to turn him into an orc or troll. Yeah, he does look like someone who just crawled out of the ground. Imagine that. What an interesting shape of skull that man possesses. Oh well. And still super successful. Still has a job that pays him, I imagine, millions. Tens of millions. His stepdaughter lives in London, living it up. The rest of the kids, I imagine, also somewhere nice. So, yeah, these people think they're winners in life. Cora Margarita, God. Oh, we have people discussing my complicated biography. Yes, I am from Crimea. Yes, indeed. Alright, I do not see any more questions, everybody. Okay, we're at 90,000 likes. Shall we be wrapping this up? Or do we wait for... Okay, let's wait till 100,000. We can do it. We can do it, everybody. You're already doing incredible and just wow. But can we do better, chat? No, I'm not going to be one of those insufferable people. Let's take a look at the air raid alert map one more time. Okay, hasn't changed much, which is good. Hopefully we're in for quieter night. Unfortunately, part of Sumska Oblast is still red. Chernihivska Oblast right next to it. That's the region neighboring Sumy, Poltava, and Kiev. It's also red. Luhansk and Crimea always red because they're occupied completely. Okay, let's look at the Hamashi one more time. Hamashi. It sounds weirdly Japanese. Gamashi. Yeah, it does. Huh, okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Atlin. Thank you, Mirja. Thank you, Maddie. I see you all. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Furman. I'm trying my best to catch up. Thank you, Maddie. But you know how it is sometimes. I know you're funny. No, you're funny. Yeah, we will wait. We're almost there. We're almost there, everybody. Yay, we are racing. We're at 98,000. Is it gonna happen? I think it will. Yeah, it's the TikTok likes, right? It's the TikTok. The TikTok people are just on fire. 99,000. But yeah, if you guys on YouTube could also like and share, it would be much appreciated too. Hopefully. I'm figuring out YouTube for now, but hopefully it will. And it's over 100,000! Yay, everybody! That's crazy stuff right here. Thank you. Thank you all. TikTok, you are on fire. Quite literally. Yay! Thank you, Annette. Thank you all. Okay, that's a great... You deserve a celebration, everybody. Thank you all so much for that. This was wonderful. Alrighty, let's wrap this one up, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching, as always. Thank you for 100,000 likes and all of the support. And thank you. Atle, do I pronounce your name correctly? I hope I do. Should I call you Etel? Alright. Thank you all. It was fantastic indeed. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you for being the best cheerleader. Thank you, Annette. Thank you to those of you for your gifts and the support. As always, I really, really appreciate you. I will catch you all next time. So it should be Wednesday. I will let you know for sure before the stream on my Instagram story, as always. It's linked, my Instagram and the rest of the socials linked in bio. You already know. Just a reminder, follow me on YouTube too, please, if you will. Thank you. And I will catch you all on Wednesday, okay? Thank you guys. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Henrik. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Zoe. As always, of course. I'm good. Okay, I'm gonna call you Atle then. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you. Okay, we just said bye-bye to TikTok. Now as always, we are saying bye-bye to you. Yeah, thank you, Direwolf. Thank you, all of you, as always. I think it was a good one, despite, the hoarders. But, no, we're keeping our heads up. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on Wednesday. Mwah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, good luck and good night. Bye-bye, everyone.